welcome to the podcast, Never Sold Out. I'm in charge this week. We're talking about something near and dear to my heart, some heavy metal. I see Andrew's repping some Whitechapel. I got Lamb of God. And Nick, he's just awesome. That's all good, man. You got horror. That's close enough.
I should have worn a Rob Zombie shirt or something.
Pretty much is metal.
That's true.
There's nothing more metal than horror.
Exactly. I mean, that's how we got death metal out of it. Just chopping people up, just all that shit.
That's true.
So, let me ask, what have you guys been listening to lately? It doesn't necessarily have to be metal, but just curious what you guys are listening to nowadays.
Andrew.
I listen to a mix of things. Lately, I actually have been going back and listening to Atreyu and I listen to a lot of Bless the Fall.
Right.
I think they're fantastic.
Nice.
But I also switch it up. We'll listen to anime music because anime music's dope.
Okay.
And then other than that, just some rap, actually.
Nothing wrong with that. I throw some rap in every now and again.
For me, it's been I'm pretty kind of all over the place. But lately, it's been Blues Traveler.
Okay.
Counting Crows.
Counting Crows. All right.
And then little John Mayer.
Okay.
And then
right.
and then if the metal I get, I've been listening to a lot more classic rock, like the AC/DCs, Led Zeppelin. I've been doing a lot of that
perfect.
stuff. The last time I still love death metal, but I guess the last band I listened to that was death metal, recently off the top of my head was probably maybe As Blood Runs Black, if I remember correctly.
Nice.
As Blood Runs Black, and obviously I listen to a lot of Rob Zombie too. Even though he's not death metal, but Rob Zombie's another guy who's always constant on my Spotify. But the past few weeks it's been because it's a nice. Besides today, it's been nice weather, so it's a lot of Blues Traveler and Counting Crows.
Nothing wrong with that. I mean, with the weather nice, I've been listening to some more relaxing stuff too, some non-metal stuff. One of my favorite bands, they're a two-tone band called The Specials. I've been jamming to a lot of them. They're basically ska and reggae without the punk. So they're a lot more easy listening. But I've been listening to I've been listening to a lot of metal. I actually got a couple of them written down. Actually, I come prepared. I've been listening to a lot of Soulfly lately.
Good band.
Deftones, especially their 2010 album Diamond Eyes. In my opinion, their best album next to White Pony. Even Lamb of God's new song, what the hell is it called? Memento Mori, or I can't pronounce that second one, but it's actually not a bad tune. It comes in kind of soft, Randy's talking, and then it goes it punches you in the face. It's fantastic. Plus,
I love Randy.
Plus, it's the first song without their drummer, Chris Adler, too. So it's actually kind of interesting to hear a new take on the drums, too. A little more intense, but it's different. I don't know.
Is this Lamb of God's newer stuff with Randy being out of prison, or has he done other stuff since being out of prison?
It's mostly just been Lamb of God. I mean, I haven't been paying too much attention to what he's been doing. I'm sure he's done a couple guest spots. I could be wrong on that, to be honest with you, but I know he's been doing other hobbies. He's a big surfer. He does photography, all that. So
yeah, he's awesome.
Oh, he is. I love the guy. He's nuts. But I've also been listening to a lot of Van Halen and Seven Dust, especially. They've probably been the biggest one lately, especially their second and third album. They're just brilliant. But yeah, that's what I've been listening to lately.
Yeah, I forgot
cool.
The other day I actually listened to some Job for a Cowboy.
Very nice. That's some classic stuff for us.
That was my stuff back in the day, baby.
Yeah, it was.
Some
Job for a Cowboy.
I was in the mood, so I just threw on Entombment of a Machine and jammed out.
Are they even a thing anymore?
No, they're not. See, what happened was Job for a Cowboy. The only original member was Johnny at this point, and I guess you could consider their drummer John kind of an original member, I guess. He came in during the first album, so I'll consider him for that reason. But they were the only two original members. Their last album came out in 2014, I think, and
It was pretty decent.
It was decent, but they ended up taking a different route. They went more away from death metal and went more into the progressive death metal kind of sound, like heavier. What am I thinking? Like almost like how almost progressive like Periphery, with a little bit of Between the Buried and Me, but still keeping that death metal to them. It was more like instrumentally they were progressive.
Okay.
It wasn't a bad album, but for me, it wasn't like the others. Wasn't like the Doom EP, Ruination.
They were so good back in the day.
Yeah,
they were like probably my favorite band for a long time back in the day because they were just so cool. Even like personality-wise, they were so cool.
I know, like that's how I discovered Metal Injection. You actually showed me that interview that they did with Rob. They're like, "Oh my God, you're only 18? What?"
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, they were definitely a big part. At least for me, they were a big part of my death metal like phase.
Yeah, absolutely.
They weren't like. I mean, I'm sure we're gonna get to the band, but there was a certain band that did make me a death metal fan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Like that whole era was so good. You had Joffer Cowboy, like, and then you had the deathcore scene like really starting. Like, you know, you had the big names like Whitechapel, Suicide Silence, Carnifex, but you also had some lesser known bands like Salt the Wound. They were a phenomenal band. Heaven Shall Burn, I guess you could consider in the deathcore camp a little bit. You know, like All Shall Perish, As Blood Runs Black, they're a great example. Like, you can't talk about deathcore without talking about As Blood Runs Black.
No, yeah, and I'm sure every generation says this, but I'm serious. I really believe, like, the generation we grew up in, as far as, like, the end of middle school, early high school, that scene, like, that death metal scene from the local to the indies, you know, to the main stages of the festivals, we had some really great bands.
Yes, we did.
I mean, we had some really good, solid stuff. I mean, like, I think, like, there was a point, I remember I would leave school and go right to the Trocadero in Philly.
Yeah.
Bleeding Through was playing, or Through the Eyes of the Dead was playing, or As Blood Runs Black was playing, Nile. Like, all these crazy death metal bands were always coming to Philly, and it was just so cool. Like, we lived in this, and it was so cheap, too.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
What, $15 to get in?
Yeah, $15-$20, maybe $30 if it was like a festival like Summer Slaughter or like Ham or something.
It was such a, and like even like the festivals we had. I mean, I don't know if that's a part of your topic, Eric, so I don't want to jump ahead too much.
It easily can be. Honestly, this whole conversation can be open-ended. I have a couple points, but keep going with this.
Like the festivals we got to go to when we were younger. I'm not talking about Warped Tour, because Warped Tour everybody did.
Fuck,
but like
I'm talking about
like the death metal shows, like Sounds of the Underground. Although it only went 3 years, holy crap, was that a show?
Dude,
right there.
every lineup of Sounds of the Underground every year was friggin' amazing. You had everybody ranging from like As I Lay Dying to Cannibal Corpse, Strappy Young Lad, Glor, Heavy, Low, Shadows Fall, like you name it. You had so many great bands on that tour.
And then we had Summer Slaughter.
Slaughter was phenomenal. I went to 2 Summer Slaughters. The one with you in 2008, and then I went in 2011 with an old buddy of mine, Dylan. And it's funny because when I'll add this quick story real quick. When you and me were getting dropped off, Shannon Lucas, the former drummer of Black Dahlia Murder, was just standing there. So we went up and talked to him, met him, and of course we had camera phones, but we didn't think about it.
Yeah.
We're just like, oh, we should have got a picture with him. Now, 2011 hits, and me and my buddy Dylan, we park up maybe like 6 blocks away from the TLA. We're walking up, and I'm telling him that exact same story. And Lord behold, Shannon Lucas is standing right outside the place talking to someone else. I walk right up to him, pull up the old picture, or not the picture, what am I saying? I tell him the story and all that. He's like, I feel like I kind of remember that. He's like, I think, weren't you 2 the kids that the rest of the band was talking about, like trying to get up and like smoke and drink with? I'm like,
that was us.
And it is. I got a picture with Shannon and everything. Went in, they put on a great show. But to go back to the 2008 one, me and Nick were, I think it was the end of Despised Icon or the Faceless. It was one of those 2 bands at the end of their set.
Yeah.
And Brian from the Black Dahlia is walking behind us, and Nick catches him. And he's like, hey, man, or whatever, we said to him, like, oh, we love your band. Can't wait to see you, whatever. Now, Nick looked like how he should have at the age of 14.
Yeah.
I, on the other hand, had like a shitty, like stupid Beatles haircut, trying to grow my hair long. I had just a mustache. Just as thick, by the way.
The classic Eric mustache.
Yep.
Classic. And I guess Brian thought I was old enough to drink. He's like, oh, you guys are cool. Go up to, you want to come up to the bar with us? And we're just like, no, we're only like 15 or whatever.
Yeah,
and he didn't believe us. So I ended up having to pull out my school ID.
Yeah.
To prove it to him. And he's freaking out. He's definitely drunk or high or whatever. He's like,
they were gone, bro. They were gone.
Didn't he end up bringing out Trevor and Bart as well? I know he brought out like some. He brought out somebody because he's like, hold on a sec. It was either Trevor or Bart. I can't remember.
Yeah, I know we met quite a few people that show, and like they were like, whoo, they were in another universe. How drunk they were, and they were headlining. They haven't even played yet.
Yeah, exactly. And that lineup was incredible. Like that was Whitechapel's first like real major tour.
That was sick.
That was right before This Is Exile came out.
Yeah.
So we basically got the entire first album.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
We had some like obscure bands too on that show, like
Psychroptic. We actually saw them on their third or fourth show in the US that they've ever done. Because they're straight from Australia. They were a cool band actually. We hung out with them for about a half hour at least.
Yeah, at their merch table. And that's what was kind of cool with like the death metal shows. They all worked their merch tables.
Yes. We met everybody.
So we would hang out. Like, no one was ever rude and be like, get out. Like, I mean, who was it? Was it you or Eric that went with me to the Blood Runs Black show?
It was Andrew.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ernie, the guitar player, wouldn't stop talking to us.
Right.
I had to eventually say to him, like, Ernie, my dad's waiting outside to pick me up. I gotta go.
No, Ernie was the nicest dude ever.
He was.
I bet he was.
So nice.
He just wanted to talk, and we were like,
so cool.
I mean, what were we like? I was like 18 maybe at the time, 17.
We weren't driving yet.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I was like 16.
We weren't driving yet. Yeah.
Yeah.
And like he was so cool, and I don't even like he like approached us. Like we were like, I think we were listening to Bleeding Through because they already played at Blood Runs Black. So we were just chilling in like the back. Like remember there's the Trocadero set up like it dips down, like has those stairs.
Right.
We were on top. We were on top of the little stairs. And we were just sitting there, and Ernie comes right up to us and just starts talking. And he's like, and obviously we knew who he was. Like, oh man, you guys did amazing. Like, thank you. And then we were like talking about how like we liked the guy from
Upon a Burning Body.
Yeah, being the lead singer because they didn't have a lead singer at the time. That guy was still Danny from Upon a Burning Body, still in.
And he's insane. He's so good,
dude.
I'm not gonna lie, like he's got some brutal vocals, but I'm just not a fan of them for whatever reason. They just didn't jump out at me.
He was good with his Blood Runs Black. I actually was sad to know that he wasn't permanent because he killed it that night.
Well, the guy that they got to replace him, like the permanent guy.
Yeah.
I actually met him at the 2011 Summer Slaughter that as Blood Runs Black opened it up. He's a tiny little fellow.
Yeah.
He makes James look short.
Oh wow! I remember.
I'm sorry. He makes James look tall. I meant to say.
I remember even talking to Ernie. We were saying how that's when Lech came back, the drummer. So he was super jacked up about Lech being back. I mean when I tell you, he talked to us through the entire Bleeding Through set.
I believe it.
Like I feel like my dad had to wait for us for 45 minutes because I just couldn't. Because he was that friendly. Like he just was cool.
Yeah, I remember your dad was like he was like. What took you guys? So, what's going on?
Thought we were dead or something.
That's what I love about the metal scene. I mean, metalheads, they look, I guess, to normal people, they look scary or whatever, or they think all these bad stereotypes, we're Satan worshipers or we kill cats or whatever. But no, I would say 98% of the time, because you got to throw those couple bad people in there, because every group has them. like they're the sweetest people. They'll sit and talk to you. Like Cannibal Corpse is a perfect example. Like they have a documentary. It's on YouTube, the full thing. And in there, they talk about how after the shows, they just hang out for hours and talk to the fans. They sign everything. They will not leave until every fan was met, had a picture taken, signed, or whatever. Even their bass player, Alex, he said he gives like bass seminars after concerts, which I think is awesome. Like, and so many bands do that. Like, I'll give you one more story before we like move on. But like, when I went to Mayhem in 2014, I was with James, EJ, and Dave, and we were watching the band Wretched. We were all up front going nuts, and the bass player and the singer kept making eye contact with me and James because we were kind of going the hardest, because they were kind of like a lesser known band. I knew about them from like an album before that, but they were a great band. And at the end of it, they're just like, "We love weed. If you have weed, bring it over to our table." So guess where we went? We went over there. We hung out with them. Like we were talking about like our band that we had at the time. Like they were just the nicest people. They offered us to go on their tour bus with them. And that is the biggest regret at a concert that I have, because they told us what time to go up there. And instead we decided, we want to go see Korn and Avenged Sevenfold on the main stage. It was, well, Korn's EJ's favorite band. He never saw them before, so fair enough. But like, I think about it now, I'm like, man, I could have seen them like any time, and I could have just hung out with these guys instead. Plus, I ended up seeing Korn 6 months later.
Me and Andrew have a similar story. We turned down smoking pot with Suicide Silence.
We did.
Oh, okay. Oh, at Mayhem 08?
Yeah, I don't remember who I think we were going to go see Dragon Force or some shit.
Yeah,
we did. Okay.
And we were hanging out at the merch tent, and they were just cool as shit. This is when Mitch was still alive, R.I.P.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And they loved us, and they straight up was like, "You guys want to come smoke with us?" And we're like, "Nah, man, we want to go watch Herman Lee shred on the guitar." And I mean, I don't regret it, but it would have been a cool story. Like, I got high with Mitch, whatever. But like, like, we and Andrew had a similar situation where we got offered to go smoke with the band, and we didn't do it.
Even if I'm sure you guys could have just still went and hung out, even if you didn't smoke with them. They'd probably be like, "Oh, okay, whatever."
Yeah, no, they were cool as hell, man. Like, they weren't like pressured. They just like, that's what they were just gonna go do, and they like hanging out. So you guys want to come? Like, it wasn't like anything weird. And then like when you guys were saying like, with Cannibal Corpse, like giving out like lessons and stuff, like I don't remember. I don't know who. You guys might have both been there. Who went to the concert at the church?
That was me.
That was him. Yeah.
Do you remember the bass player gave me from Darkness Falls, gave me his bass pick?
Yeah.
That was cool. Like he had like literally like a stack of bass picks that he just
that's cool.
Like just hand them out to people. Like and they were cool. They were like a really nice bass pick, and that's the thing. It's like these guys are always so cool. Like I don't remember having a bad experience with any of the artists that have performed at a metal show.
No.
I've never had one either.
I say this to people all the time because I've been to a lot of different concerts at this point, like a lot of different types of festivals. Like I went to EDC Vegas a couple years ago, and like,
oh, cool.
And I always say this, and I mean it. Whenever you go to a metal concert, that is one of the nicest experiences in a pit ever, because the people there are actually very friendly. You go to like a show that's not as heavy, like I've been to like. I'm just trying to think like a Bayside show or something. And, and in the pit, those people are assholes. Like
I was gonna say that shit, dude. I was literally about to bring that shit up. Like when people like have this like notion of these metalheads being these huge douchebags. The only time I ever almost got into a fist fight was at a fucking what the hell was that? This like little emo show. I can't think of the band for the life of me.
What a local show, right?
No, it was like a legit band. It was like that place in Vineland. I forget who the band was.
Right, is that?
At Hangar 84, yeah.
Yeah. It was like a legit band. What's that band? It's like Drop Dead Gorgeous.
Drop Dead Gorgeous. Okay.
I was in the pit. Okay, and I'm just you're doing the two-step in garbage, whatever. And I did a spin kick. Well, spin kicked the kid in the stomach. So he got in my face. And I said to him,
if you're in the pit, expect to get hit.
Well, yeah. And that's the thing. Like, I've gotten concussions at a metal show, but we'll get to that in a minute. But but like, but the thing is, like, this guy's trying to fight me, and I'm like, dude, like, it's for fun. Like, we're in here, we're all enjoying ourselves. But like, one of the dudes there who I became friends with, remember that like group that would go around FSU?
Right.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, he was a part of it, and he didn't like that kid was in my face because I hung out with him the whole night. Well, he got in that kid's face and basically said, like, hey, if you mess with him, all those people behind you, you're going to have a big issue with. So the kid backed away and he apologized, but that was the only time I ever almost got into a fist fight was at a freaking emo concert, okay?
Yeah. Wow.
And that's the thing, like, listen, I know it sounds bad, I've gotten 2 concussions at a metal concert. Both of them were just freak accidents, okay? It's the one, my sister's ex-boyfriend threw his elbow in the air and it cracked me in the head.
Oh.
So it just happened to be at Sounds of the Underground. So I got a concussion from that. And then it was at the church with Andrew. We opened up the pit for Rose funeral.
Oh, nice.
But it was just us, and it was fun because remember it's 2 different types of styles that we're about to get into. Then Skeleton Witch came on.
Yes.
Skeleton Witch is more of the heavy set people who do the circle pit. Well, I'm like 130 pounds. I fell, and I got my head stepped on.
Yeah. Oh God.
The guy didn't mean it. I had a giant knot on my head. He didn't mean it, but I was too small to be in that shit. And I had a really bad headache the rest of the night.
Yeah.
And I've had 3 concussions my whole life: 2 at metal shows, and 1 I got hit in the face with a basketball in gym.
I got 1 injury story, and then I have 1 story about how nice metalheads are in the pit, and then I got something else I want to move on to after that. But basically, the worst injury I ever got in a pit was when I was at Ozfest 06. Unearth was playing, and they did a wall of death. And anybody that knows Unearth knows that like they have some of the most brutal pits. That like those pits are up there with like Slayer pits and Cannibal Corpse pits. Like
there is no standing room.
Right.
There is no. Yeah, like the whole place is a pit. Yeah, I've seen them. Yeah, 3 times as well. Like the whole place is a pit. So basically, for those who don't know what a wall of death is, it's basically where the lead singer will just bring his hands down like that and separate, and he wants the crowd to separate into 2 sections. And then at a certain point in the song, when they count it down, both sides crash into each other into a giant pit. So
fun.
I'm like 13 at the time, and I'm in the front because I think I'm a badass, even though I'm not. And this dude, like on the other side, he's probably, I don't know, maybe like 6'2", like well over 200 pounds. I'm like 5'1", maybe like 115 pounds. And we're just like doing this to each other, like, yeah, come on, smash into each other. I didn't realize until like when Atreyu was on next that half of my hand was fucking broken. I had like these 3 fingers were fucked up, like this bone in here was fucked up. My hand was like kind of hanging. I was like, all right, fuck it. I'm not leaving. I want to see Ozzy. I want to see System of a Down. I want to see Dragon Force. Like I wasn't leaving. I wasn't going to medical. I didn't even go to the hospital. My parents still to this day have no idea I did that. I just got home and I wrapped my...
Is that why you can't point right?
Probably. That's probably the reason. Just over there.
It all makes sense now.
Yeah.
We figured it out.
It's so funny that like literally anybody who... I don't even know if Unearth is still around.
They are. I just saw them last year.
Well, anybody who's willing to go, anybody who goes to an Unearth concert, first off, it's the coolest concert ever. But just you're gonna end up in the pit at one point.
Yes.
It just happens. Like I remember my first time. The guy was with Steve. He was like, "Yo, just so you know, you're gonna be in the pit." And I'm like I'm like all these. I'm in a teenager, so like a part of me, I'm like shitting myself. Like, I'm gonna get in a pit. What?
Yeah.
And like, dude, he wasn't kidding. Like the whole floor is a war zone.
Yeah, it is.
It's just like it's like the two bands that just become war zones, and there's no way around it. Is Unearth and the Acacia Strain.
Yeah, the Acacia Strain, 100%.
There's just no way around it. You just got to be willing to watch the show, and every once in a while stick your arm out because there's the hand going your way.
Right.
Yes.
It's fun, that no one's doing it meanly, but it gets crazy.
It does. I'll give you another example. It was Mayhem 2012. Slayer and Slipknot were the main headliners.
Mm-hmm.
It was Slipknot's big comeback tour. Greatest day of my life. I met 2 members. I'll get into that another podcast because it'll end up being the whole podcast if I talk about it. But basically, Slayer was coming on, and my friend James, he's basically like 5'2". Like he's a tiny little guy.
He's like 10 pounds.
Right.
Yeah, he's like 10 pounds. And Raining Blood was coming on. Like you hear the thunder in the beginning of the song, and he's like, dude, I'm going in the pit for that. And the pit, the entire show was insane. Like Slayer pits are the most dangerous pits because it's nothing but like people the size of like a Volkswagen Beetle. They're the smallest people. They'll fucking kill you.
Yeah.
So James, he's like, oh, I'm going in. So once the song started, he's like, all right, I'm going. I'm like, all right, you're going to die. He was telling me he literally ran in, took 2 steps, got punched, knocked down, like by accident, of course, got knocked down on his ass. And before he could realize it, he had someone grip him like this, stand him up on his feet. And he's like, you're welcome. He's like, thank you, and ran out of the pit. He's like, dude, you were right. I almost died. But that is a good example of how kind people are in the pit. If you fall over, they'll either completely stop the pit, or if it's too crazy to stop, you'll have like 5 guys just jumping in to try and pick you up so you don't get stomped on.
Yeah, the only people that don't, there's always that one person that's just a complete douche the whole show.
Oh, yeah.
That's the only person that doesn't get help.
It's always the middle-aged guy wearing the Pantera shirt with the cut-off sleeves, cut-off jean shorts with shitty tattoos that's way too drunk. That's always the stereotype, and I hate stereotyping, but that one is 100% accurate.
And somehow spills his beer on you in every show.
Yes.
Every single show. Does,
and like
he just shows up.
And he will not disappear from next to you, but somehow every time you look at him, he's got a brand new beer.
Yeah, I know. It's literally, you're not kidding. Like literally, and like my back will smell like Bud Light. For 2 weeks, because that's where it goes.
Exactly. Yeah. Like I look at him, I'm just like, all right, he's almost done his beer. Cool. I look over again. He's got a fresh tall boy with the ice and frost still on it. I'm like, what the fuck? And you don't see anybody walk up to him, give it to him. It's like he's just pulling him out of his ass or something.
Yeah.
I mean, probably.
There's that one guy. Yeah, probably is.
Always that guy.
You think it's a beer gut, but it's actually just beers he's pulling out of his shirt. You know?
Yeah. You're onto something. You are onto something.
Yeah, that's the only guy that when he goes in the pit, he ain't getting help.
Yeah.
See, and that's at a metal concert. If you go to like something a little bit lighter, like a just an alternative music concert, it's usually some like preppy kid who hasn't gotten over the fact that he doesn't know how to play professional sports, so he still wears his jacket from high school.
Yep.
And he's the one that has the issue where he just always is in your way, always wants to like run straight into you for no reason.
Always has weed.
Yeah.
Always.
Like a blunt lit the whole friggin' like the whole festival, you know.
Exactly.
He constantly has it, like.
Yep.
Every time.
Yeah. Always. Or it's the kid with a really small, tight white T-shirt and skinny jeans.
Yep.
That's constantly the same thing. He's just always in your way.
Yep.
He's loud and obnoxious. He's always high and drunk the whole entire thing, and it's just like.
Yep.
But he just doesn't go away.
And he tries to hug you.
You move to the other side of the damn festival, and he somehow ends up there. Like, where did you come from?
You know who else is always at every concert, no matter if it's a metal concert, if it's like Firefly, whatever. It's the guy in the banana suit.
Yeah.
There's always a guy in a banana costume.
And there's always a beach ball.
Always a beach ball.
Always a beach ball.
Well,
it's great.
I mean, technically it's just always a beach. There's waves of people, so.
That is true.
I see what you did there. Okay.
That's true. Yeah, good old festivals and people.
Speaking of festivals, when we were in a band, we never got to play one.
Nope.
Remember Imperil, guys?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. We played Battle of the Bands.
That's true. I'm talking about like a nice major festival.
Yeah.
Not a Battle of the Bands.
We were never that good enough to do that.
No, but we were good enough to play Battle of the Bands, I guess. We played a couple.
We also had to pay to play Battle of the Bands.
Right. That's true, yeah. If you didn't sell 30 tickets, you couldn't perform. I ended up having my ex-girlfriend's dad buy like 6 tickets just because.
Yeah, I'm pretty
like,
sure.
You owe me this in a year. 8 months later, we break up.
Sold like the tickets at work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he knew they weren't coming. He even said it because, listen, I know you're not going to go, but my kid needs this to get his band to play. People were like, yeah, whatever. So knowing I sold tickets, you actually went.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I maybe even sold one.
Yeah. Well, we knew some people that joined it, sold the tickets, kept the cash, and just never played.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And that's a way to do it.
That's genius. Yeah. I'm surprised we never thought of that. But
because
we also wanted that dream to happen.
And also too, we were too scared.
Yeah.
Yeah. We act like we're hard, but we were a bunch of sissies.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Very.
I'm a complete pussy. Still to this day.
Yeah, me too. I mean, I'm not even gonna. I can't even like defend. I am like.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, and then we played twice. I want to say, right? We did Battle of the Bands twice.
You, Andrew, and Zach played the first time because that's when I was out of the band.
Right.
And then after Imperil broke up and we started Decapitation Proclamation, that's when we brought Andrew in for a second guitar player, and we all played the second time.
We had some good names.
We did.
We're good.
Well, that's Eric. I was gonna say that Eric is like the king of death metal band names.
Right.
I try.
Like he would just come up out of nowhere, like Decapitation Proclamation. Like, whoa, that sounds brutal. Let's do it.
And the only reason I chose that name is because it rhymed. I'm like, I think it's because at the time I was really studying like the Civil War. Yeah, the Civil War. So the Emancipation Proclamation. I'm like, and I think I was actually listening to like Decapitated or something at that time, because that's when I was heavy into that like old school death metal sound, even though they're not really old school. They came out in 90 whatever, 2000 or whatever. But that's how I came up with the name, just because it rhymed, and it's still my favorite name I ever came up with.
No, me too. It's probably my favorite name. But like, I remember me and Andrew, we finally had a band that was good.
Mm-hmm.
And we recorded it, and I remember as we were recording, I went to Andrew and said, "Hey, man, I'm quitting." and then Andrew was like, "Yeah, me too." Like,
yeah.
He was like, "If you're not, I'm not gonna do it either." And what was that band name?
It was Killing the Silence.
Yeah, that's it. And then we were actually good.
You guys were good.
We were good. We were really good.
Yeah, like that song we recorded was like.
But that was the issue. That was why we left, because we only had one song, and we played for like 3 months.
Yeah, I mean, we worked so hard in that song, and also too, it just kind of like at that point, we've already like we basically we were in a band pretty much for like since 8th grade to sophomore junior year, right?
Sophomore junior year, yeah. No, like late freshman, maybe early sophomore, because around like junior year, you fell out of the whole music scene.
Yeah, because like it was so draining.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, well, they were hard to work with. Well, then again, when I left, Zach, like it was only us three, and then Zach when I was in the band, and then when I ended up leaving, you guys brought in Dan and Nick, right?
Right. It was Dan.
Ian. It was Ian.
Yeah,
because me and Ian had a falling out because Ian was with me, and then it was just me and Trevor at that point. And me and Trevor had like 6 songs, and you guys came over to us.
Right.
So it was like we were just trading members.
Well, that's what it was, and like here's what the problem was: we would finally have a band that were having fun, right? Which was the most important thing.
Yes.
And then for whatever reason, we would do something to screw us up because, like, okay, we're having fun and we're enjoying ourselves, but now let's get good.
Yes.
And like, my favorite band we ever did was when I left Imperil and we did Decapitation Proclamation, and I came over first.
Yes.
It was just me, Eric, and Trevor.
Yep.
Right. Mm-hmm. And then we brought Andrew in, and we were solid. Like that band had a lot of potential. The problem was that we wanted to go too quick.
Yeah, I was just about to say, we were moving way too quick, and that's something my dad was telling us for so long. He's like, you guys should not be worrying about shows for a good year. Get us set down solid, which we were tight together. I truly, like, as far as I remember, we were really tight, but we could have been way better.
Oh yeah.
Well, that's the thing too, and that's kind of like was the issue. Is I think like at the time Trevor kept saying like, when are we doing the shows? When are we doing the shows?
It'd be the first practice ever, and he'd be like, so when are we doing our first show? It's like, dude, we don't even have like 30 seconds of a song yet. What the fuck are you talking
And me and Andrew left our first band in peril because we couldn't take the idea of constantly doing shows when we weren't ready.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
And then when we finally, I don't even remember why decapitation broke. I really don't. I don't know if it was a falling out or what. I don't remember why.
I think, like, at the time, we were all kind of like, not drifting, but like I remember you were starting to discover MMA.
Mm-hmm.
You were starting to fade a little bit at that time. You were still heavy into playing. Andrew was 2 years ahead of us, so he was graduating that year.
Yeah, I was getting close to graduating.
Yeah, so you were probably getting ready for college and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I remember because the last band I was in was Killing the Silence, and we were going strong. Like Andrew said, for 3 months we worked on that song.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and it's probably how it should have went. We had a solid song, but the problem was it just got to a point. It's like we were already so defeated after every other band we went into that it was just kind of like, although it was like we finally hit that peak where like, this is good, and then we're just like, we're good, we're done. Yeah. And also too, like, it's not even like we were friends with the people in the band,
but not like how us three are.
Exactly. You know what I mean? Like that was the thing that was missing, because it's like, okay, do we want to progress with these people, knowing like that it's not like that these people are drifting away from us. Like we're not all in the same thing, and then also too. They could barely establish what sound we were going for.
Right. Exactly.
And that was frustrating because like me and Andrew just like, and I think that's another thing too. Like me and Andrew at a point we were just kind of like, we just want to play music. We don't even care.
Yeah. Like me and Nick always had like, and even to this day, whenever we start a project or doing anything together, we always usually have the same vision for it.
Yeah.
And that was the same with music. Like we knew that we wanted to play. We knew pretty much the type of music that we wanted to play all the time. But it was trying to get everyone else in a band that we started or joined to get along with that as well. It was hard because not everyone has that same like, they know what they want to do, let's just do it type of thing. They're just like, okay, well, I like this style of music. I'm just going to add this into this song that we've been working on for no reason. And I'm like, what are you doing? Like, we didn't discuss this. Like, why are we doing this?
I had that issue with so many bands, dude, especially the last one I was in. I was in, like, the two guitar players I was with, they were on heroin. Like, we could barely get anything done. I mean, the bass player, he wasn't too interested in it. He kind of got pressured into it by me just because we needed a bass player. I'm like, yo, dude, you always wanted to play bass. Come play with us. I give him credit. He learned the songs like pretty easily, but he just didn't have the same dedication.
Yeah, and that's what's hard too. It's like the people who like who's in it for what, you know? Like, and that's another like these guys were definitely like they told the Silence. They wanted to go big.
Oh yeah,
like, that was their goal.
A lot of them that's all they had. Like
exactly. Yeah. Like that they were banking on it, and it's like I think like me and Andrew wanted to go kind of more like that, like I don't know, what would you say the sound we were going for? Like it was I guess it was kind of like that, like grindcore. Like
so we wanted a good mix. Like we had a good mix. I would say I guess a grindcore would be a good way to put it, because it was like you have some aspects of like metalcore, but then you also have those insane breakdowns that will just like murder people.
Yeah. And that's what we wanted. And then they wanted to go like more like I don't know,
a Day to Remember style.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah,
so like pop punk, post hardcore content.
Because that's when the Homesick album came out, from A Day to Remember. And everyone was super into it, and I was into it too.
Yeah, I was into it as well. I love that album.
I still listen to it to this day.
Me too.
It's a great album.
It's a great album, but it wasn't what.
Yeah, it wasn't what we wanted to play.
Yeah, like, and I was almost like it's funny because the name of our show, but it's almost like they were selling out because that's what was popular and that's what the scene was turning into. Yes. And me and Andrew were still like, no, like we want to sound like this Blood Red Black and Whitechapel, you know, like we want to go more that front. And they were like, no, like we got to do this. It's like, no, like, we don't want to. And like, and if you listen to our song, it is, you could tell it is a blend of what me and Andrew wanted.
Yeah.
And if you remember, and it came out great, but it's not what we wanted.
I remember up till a couple of years ago, it was still on MySpace.
Really?
But I don't know if it's still up there, and I'm actually gonna search it while we're talking.
Yeah, because it was like a really we paid money to get it recorded, and I just remember sitting there, and I told Andrew as we were recording it, I was done.
Yeah, there it is.
I'm done. Is it?
It's still there, yeah.
Nice.
That's so funny.
It's called The Thrill of Taking Out a Nightmare.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Wow. I'll pick that name.
Well, those kind of names are popular back then. Like, I mean, like you had at that time, you had like Devil Wears Prada had like Dogs Can Grow Beards. Also, Chiodos had freaking retarded names. That was the thing back then. Just have retarded names that have nothing to do with, you know.
Yeah, but like, it just like wasn't. I was so done with like. I wanted to listen to music, but I didn't want to play it anymore. Like, I didn't even play bass anymore. Like I quit playing music after that.
Yeah, you did. I own one of your basses right now.
Yeah, I don't own a single instrument anymore. Like it was so draining to me that I was done. Like I wanted like no way to even get back into it. I was like, I'm out. I'm done.
I even took a couple years off. I mean, I never stopped drumming, but I just took a couple years off from being in a band until after high school, and it just never worked. Yeah. It was always just it came down to the members, because my problem always was I wanted to be in a band with my friends, and
that's what exactly
majority of my friends were musicians, but they weren't as dedicated as I wanted to be. The only friends that were really dedicated were you two at the time when we were trying to get our shit together, and then James. He was the only other one that was dedicated. Everybody else, they kept saying they were this and that. And yeah, they probably were, but they had other things in their lives that were causing them to not, whether it was a personal issue, a job, drug problem, whatever it was.
Right.
We did try to Kill the Silence was not our last band.
No,
I forgot.
We still attempted.
We tried to bring back Decapitation with James as the lead singer.
Yeah.
You on drums, and me and Andrew, I was bass and he was guitar.
Yeah, because I remember we were moving everything into your basement before you got it remodeled.
Yep. And then we went for maybe a month, but it was still fun. Like we never that was like it was just a fun jam.
Oh, yeah, we were just chilling.
Oh, it was great.
And that's what it was. But it got to a point where it's like you dealt with so much shit prior to getting to that funness that was like, fuck it.
Yeah.
Plus, like I said, at that time we were all like other things were going on. Like
exactly.
I was. I think I was in a relationship at the time. You were starting to get out of it a little bit.
Yeah, I was getting into MMA.
Andrew was getting ready to graduate and all that. So, I mean, we all had our own things going on. I'm not mad about it. I enjoyed those years playing with not just you guys, but with everybody else that I played with. Maybe there's like 3 people I can think of that I did not have fun playing with, but
I can think of one or two.
Their name. Yeah.
No, I mean, I joined a band after high school with my brother, and we were actually really good. We played a lot of shows and had a lot of songs. The first show that I actually played with them, I think I started playing with them just out of fun because one of the other guitar guys had to leave because he had like a job in another state. Yeah. So they were just like, oh, just come play with us for a little bit. And then we ended up playing, there was like a charity event at the high school. And we played that, and I was like, wow, this is actually a really good band. Like, everyone in there is pretty solid. But, like, I was never really, like, friends with any of them. And it made it harder because, like, I couldn't really voice my opinion. And every time I did, they would tell me that they didn't want to do it. Because I kept on telling them I was in that band for, like, a year or two. And they never wanted to play like heavier style music. Like they were always like we had like 5 or 6 songs, and they were all different types of rock music, and it was weird. And I was like, we should go a little bit heavier. And then lo and behold, I leave the band because like I was in the middle of like college and stuff, so I was like, all right, and I didn't really feel it anymore. So like I left the band, and lo and behold, they start going heavier after I left, and they got more popular and played with like Pierce the Veil and shit like that, and I was like, oh well, who was right?
And it kind of shows you that you were never valued.
Right, because they waited until I left to do what I told them to do.
Yeah, because if they changed, then you would have been permanent.
And their most popular song was the one that I made. And
of course,
after I left, they never played it again and refused to play it in shows.
Oh,
because you made it?
Yeah, because the lead guitarist had such a fucking ego, and he didn't like the fact that I made up a song that everyone liked better than all of his songs. So, and he was he was the type of dude in the band who, like, he was never supposed to be the backup vocals for anything, but he would come up to your microphone and start doing the backup vocals in a show.
Right.
And he was like a Fulani type of dude. Plays the guitar behind his head and shit like that.
Oh, one of those guys.
Yeah, so it was fun, you know. I'm just over here like, whatever.
Yeah, screw it.
I know I was right, so.
Yeah, seriously.
Oh man. So, let me see. How old were you guys when you first discovered heavy music? It could even be just like AC/DC even.
Well, I mean, I've always liked rock music, but like I can vividly tell you exactly what I was and who it was that got me into death metal.
There you go.
Right.
I was it was the summer of freshman year.
Yeah.
So what would that have made me? How old were you when you were a freshman?
14.
Yeah.
14. I was 14 years old, and it was the Black Dahlia murder. I found your music video on Comcast On Demand, and it was what was it? It was that music video where they're running around Vegas drunk.
Miasma.
That's it, Miasma.
Or Miasma, or however you pronounce it.
Yeah. No, I was in middle school. I'm sorry. No, I was in middle school.
You were in middle school. I was in middle school.
Yeah, I was in middle school because I remember coming into school the next day, like with my mind blown by this band, the Black Dahlia Murder, and someone told me about you got to check out Through the Eyes of the Dead.
Okay.
So it was like a spiral. It was like, okay, Black Dahlia Murder, Through the Eyes of the Dead, and Blood Red Flag, On Earth, As I Die, like all this like bands were just thrown in my face. Like, holy shit, like this is insane.
That's great.
So like I was in 8th grade and I discovered metal because I was kind of getting a little tired of the workforce scene,
right?
And because at the time we were in a punk band.
Yeah,
that's how I met Andrew through that band
in a punk band.
Yep.
What was it? Yep. One Nation Under Death.
Yeah, because we thought it'd be cool to be like political or some bullshit, and not realizing none of us knew anything.
Oh no, we were all little kids, like pretending to know something.
And let me just add, I hated punk music then, and still kind of hate it today. There's
I don't even.
But I just wanted to be in a band.
I can't listen to punk music for the life of me. I hate it all.
I can't even listen to fucking Green Day. They drive me insane.
No, Green Day is the worst.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. If Green Day is playing and I'm in the room, I'm not gonna complain. I'm not gonna go out of my way to listen to them. But say if the Clash came on, like, come on, the Clash.
I don't listen to any of them.
Yeah.
I don't listen to any of that shit anymore.
No.
Fair enough.
But
like the Ramones, they're garbage.
The Clash, yeah, okay, maybe I'll do the Clash, but again, I don't go out of my way. When you can tell, Jen gets mad because Jen loves Green Day. When they come on the radio, I turn it right off. I'm like, I don't listen to it. It's garbage to me.
It is garbage.
Yeah, like bands like Green Day and like I'm not a big fan of Blink-182 either.
Oh, fuck them! I hate them.
Hate them. They are horrible.
They are garbage.
This is why we're all friends.
Yes.
The guy's voice drives me insane
every time.
Like when he starts singing,
I'm so sorry.
I went to War Tour last year, the 25th anniversary, and because there were some bands that were good there, like A Day to Remember played, so like they were fun to see.
Yes.
But like I really just went for the experience. But like Blink-182 played, and like I think we left. Like I was like I'm not down for it. Sum 41 came on. I was like, all right, see ya.
Yeah.
Like I'm not down. Like none of that.
All those bands annoyed the shit out of me because they're all whiny.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
They sing about shit that like I don't give a hell.
Here's the thing.
About, like
their songs, like their lyrical subjects, like they were written when they were either teenagers or young adults, Like, imagine being in your 40s, 50s, close to your 60s, and you're still playing songs about a breakup that you had from when you were 19, or how your parents are just making you miserable from when you were 15.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
And I just think, like, even like Green Day, I just think like Billy Joe is like a frat person.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's
Like,
a piece of shit.
Yeah, like the fact, like, and that's just so funny because he has like the balls to talk about like all these people.
Yeah.
But it's like you go like insane on your own stage,
Right.
walk off, and all these people paid how much money to see your stupid face play?
Right.
Exactly.
Like who the fuck are you? You know, like, so like I don't know. I hate Green Day. Blink-182 is garbage. I'm with you on those. I mean, I know maybe we're in a minority here, but I do not like punk music.
No, it's not a minority. Like, punk and metal, like, they do not clash. Like, there's a huge hatred between punks and metalheads. There's only one band that both punks and metalheads can come together on, and that is Motorhead.
Yeah, Motorhead's good. I like Motorhead.
I could listen to it.
Just because, like most punks, they were skaters. So Motorhead kind of blended with the skater community, which kind of blended those two groups together.
And I think the reason why we did punk when we were kids, because at the time
it was easy.
Bands like it was easy, and bands like Green Day were big.
It
Not
was
just that. Think of like the other bands that were big, like in the local scene, like Attention, Man Overboard, which still wasn't even signed yet. By the way, for all those that remember Man Overboard, they're from our hometown.
Yeah,
hated them. Our town hated them.
That's true.
Yeah, it's true. But it's like that's the thing that's like funny is like, you know, like, and also like most metal bands weren't trios.
Yeah.
No, you're right. Like they were I think like Dying Fetus, Nile.
Yeah.
Like Rush were the only like trios.
And we were just discovering like metal. Like like I said, like we were just like I mean like we were on the tip of that. And then, because we did quickly convert to death metal, probably like within like what, 3 months?
At least.
Yeah, because that's when we were really getting into that stuff. Like I already knew like bands like Cannibal Corpse, Napalm Death.
Slipknot,
you know, like,
was always your thing.
Yeah,
Slipknot was always his thing.
Of course.
Yeah.
But yeah, like that's when we were all starting to get into like those heavier bands, and we're like, oh, we want to play this,
but we couldn't.
We couldn't.
It was hard.
So we worked our way up. We were like, all right, let's try like something similar to like maybe like Kill Switch Engage, because it's a lot of opens. There's not a lot of like craziness, even though we were 100%.
No, there's a lot of craziness. There's a lot of craziness.
Yes.
Well, like we just kind of like we kept going like up like basically the rock,
right?
The rock tree until we got to that point where we're like, okay, we can make something out of this now.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Like I remember the first time both of you learned how to sweep pick, and it was it was like when I first figured out and learned how to do a blast beat properly. It was like the greatest feeling.
We still had to learn double bass pedal. Remember when you got a double bass pedal?
Yeah. Because for a while we were playing with you
on a single. Because I had because my dad, he didn't even know that a double bass pedal was a thing, and my dad was a drummer because he's
he's old school.
Yeah, he's like, I'm not getting you a new drum set, and then he ended up finding the double bass pedal, and that changed everything.
Mm-hmm. And he worked his butt off, and like I remember, I kept that Jog for a Cowboy bass line.
Yeah.
Yes.
I kept working on that like crazy,
and
I was like, you know.
Yeah, I kept on working on. I was trying to play some Kill Switch Engage and a Day to Remember, or not Day to Remember, As I Lay Dying. To kind of like get up on the riffs, and I was like, okay, now I'm getting comfortable. And then that's when we were starting to actually make some good music. Was once we got comfortable playing that stuff. It took so many hours. Like it was crazy.
Oh yeah.
If we would have taken like a year, and just wrote music for a year in our bands, like not make it public, no pressure on us, no one even knew we were in a band, we probably would have made something out of it.
Yeah,
but the problem is like we were like with MySpace, it was so easy just to put like little shit on there. You know what I mean? Like, you know, like you thought we'd get so famous so quick, and it's like in reality, it's like no, we're not, because like some of our songs had some solid potential.
Oh
yeah, absolutely.
But,
Problem Child, that one Southern song we wrote that we only performed. Actually, we never performed that.
Never. It was cool as shit too.
Yeah.
Dun, 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 whatever. Like it's cool stuff. Yeah, it was really cool.
Yeah.
We had some good stuff, man.
Yeah, it was cool, man.
But to get us back on track here.
Yeah, yes. Andrew's turn.
It's my turn, guys. And I'm only going to mention
my bad.
I'm only going to mention one thing about why we played punk music, and we already mentioned it, and this is definitive. We only played it because it was easy.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Not because we cared about punk music or liked it, but because it was easy.
Got our foot in the door. That's literally, it is easy as hell.
But also, just to get on Eric's subject here, so heavier music. So growing up, my dad always listened to like Led Zeppelin and like Van Halen and AC/DC, and so whenever we would be in the car and like AC/DC would come on or Van Halen would come on, I always vibed to those more than I vibed to like a Led Zeppelin song, even though I do enjoy Led Zeppelin now that I'm older.
Glad to hear that.
Yeah, it was just like the style I liked. It was heavier.
Yes.
And then I was in middle school, and Jake Murray,
I remember that kid.
showed me Avenged Sevenfold.
Yeah. That changed everything for you.
And that changed everything. Avenged Sevenfold, Wake in the Fallen album. That album was fantastic, and then that got me into Atreyu. And then
that's my favorite band.
From Autumn to Ashes.
Yep.
And it was just like all the, just like as Nick said, like it was just like a collapse. Like you listen to one, and then you just start listening to them all. Yep. And then Nick was the one who got me into like death metal when he discovered Black Dahlia Murder, because he showed me that song too. I think I went over to his house and he was like, listen to this song, and we just played videos on demand, on Comcast On Demand for like the whole day. So it that's basically how I got into metal music and heavier music.
There you go.
So now it's Eric's time.
I've basically said I've been a metalhead since I was in the womb. I mean, like, my dad was a metalhead growing up. My mom, not really into metal. She's more of a classic rock person, which is where I get that from too. But my dad grew up, as he was into the hair metal. He was actually in a band. That's how I became a drummer and all that too.
Rocks.
But yes, Rocks. That was his old band.
They were good, actually too.
Yeah, they were. They Yeah, I would credit my dad for that. Like, the heaviest stuff my dad likes was like Pantera. Like he didn't go any heavier than like Pantera, Metallica, Megadeth. Like he wasn't into Slayer. He said they were too fast for him. He liked a little bit of Anthrax, but like he mostly stuck with like the hair metal stuff, like Ozzy, Black Sabbath, the classic shit, which is great. That's why I have a love for hair metal as much as it's hated now to this day. Like, you can find some good gems. I don't care what you say.
I like hair
Crew's
metal.
Awesome.
I think it's fun.
I like it more than punk.
Oh,
yeah, same. But how I got into really heavy music, like I said, the heaviest band that I listened to was like Pantera, and then the thrash bands. And then I remember it was my aunt's wedding when I was 12. We were out in like Amish country, PA, at a hotel, and I was the odd cousin, not just because I was kind of the black sheep in general, but also the cousins closest to my age. My older cousin was 2 years ahead of me, but he was at that age where he's in high school. I was in 7th grade, going into 7th grade. He was going into freshman year. He didn't want to hang out with his little cousin. And then my younger cousins, the closest one was like 3 years, so I didn't fit in with anybody. So I was sitting at a picnic table listening to my CD player by myself. My dad's like, hey, come with me. Takes me up to the hotel room, and he puts on MTV2. He's like, I used to watch this show when I was a teenager. It's called Headbangers Ball. Sit here. It looks like there's a half hour left. Just enjoy it. And that moment changed my life forever, because the first video that came on, usually within the last half hour, they put on a classic video from back in the 80s or 90s. So they put on a live video of Iron Maiden's The Trooper from like 86, 87, something like that. And then the next video after that was Black Dahlia Murder, Miasma. And I was like, what the fuck is this? This is awesome. And then 2 more videos came on. It was Cradle of Filth, her Ghost in the Fog, and that was another classic video they were doing. So that's how I discovered Cradle. Loved them. They were from that point on, they were always my top 5 favorite bands. And then Slipknot came on, and that's when that's when Duality was brand new, just came out, and that was their first video for Volume 3. That changed my life right there. Like that whole night, that whole experience. But Slipknot in particular, they became my favorite band. Like come on. Or is it that too? Like, I'm a diehard fan. So that right there changed my life. Just Headbangers Ball. I ended up telling Nick about it in school, and he started watching it too.
Yep.
And it just spread from there. Like, Headbangers Ball, like, shaped me and Nick and Andrew as well. It shaped all of us for the music that we like. Like, all the bands that were huge then: Killswitch Engage, Shadows Fall, God Forbid, Hatebreed, you name it, Bury Your Dead, like so many bands. And like I even remember, Nick, remember the Halloween parade when we went home and we both put on Headbangers Ball and called each other after statutory 8 video?
Yep, I remember that.
Or no, great. Yeah, it was great.
It was, well, I can confirm too. Like, as long as I've known Eric since I've started school. Right? Like kindergarten.
Kindergarten, we first met each other.
Yeah, and as far as I remember, he always had like a Kiss shirt or a Metallica shirt. Like, Eric really has been a metalhead forever. Like,
he'll never die.
Yeah, like I've been a horror fan my whole life. Like, Eric's been a metalhead his entire life too. Yeah. Like, that's there's certain things that shape people as a person. That was Eric's thing. Like, that was his escape. When things were rough for him, that was his escape.
It's still my escape to this day too. It'll never go away. Yeah. It to me, it's more than just an interest or a hobby. For me, it's a lifestyle and it's a culture. And like the whole metal community, it's a culture. And I feel proud to be a part of that culture.
He still collects CDs.
Yeah, I do. I still buy CDs. I don't even have a CD player in my vehicle anymore, but I mean, I still get them. I like the physical copy.
Well, look. As a movie, I still buy the physical copy. Half the things I have on digital, so I watch them on digital. But I like something to have the physical media. It just feels good to me.
Oh yes.
I have a record player. I buy some albums on vinyl.
Yeah.
Like I have Devil Wears Prada on vinyl.
Mm-hmm.
I have all the Avenged Sevenfold albums on vinyl, obviously.
I only have 2 vinyls. I only got Slipknot's "We Are Not Your Kind" and Ted Nugent's "Gonzo."
Okay.
And that I only have that because it was given to me as a Christmas gift. I've yet to listen to the actual vinyl because I don't have a needle for my record player. But I've heard the album. It's a great live album.
That's so funny.
But yeah, man. I mean, I love the fact that we all still have a love for this, even though like we all kind of fell out of playing music. Like, we all still go back and listen as well. Like, I don't know. I just think it's wonderful overall.
Well, I think if you had the space, Eric, you would still be playing drums to this day.
I would.
It was the fact that if you just you don't have the space for a big drum set. That's it.
I don't have a space for even an electric drum set.
Exactly.
Like, that's my goal. That's the whole thing I'm basing a house around when I start looking for a house is, okay, I need a place to put my drums.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's the first thing I'm thinking about. It's not floor space. It's not like, oh, what color are we going to paint the living room? No. Is there space for my drums? Because honestly, I have song ideas going on in my head all day. And I have bass down to a very basic level where I can come up with something. Guitar, I'll get to that eventually. But like, I want to write. I still want to write music.
I mean, go ahead, Nick.
Yeah, when me and my girlfriend got a house, I told her, I was like, you can do whatever you want to the house. I just want a movie theater room, and then this is what I got.
Right.
There you go.
I have my movie theater room, and it's my sanctuary.
Yeah, I have my gaming PC.
Yeah.
Which I spend too much money on, but that's fine.
Dude, I can't even tell you how much money I spent.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've spent so much on metal shit. It's not even funny. Musical instruments.
I have my guitar. It's actually right behind me, in the room.
The Lloyd Ibanez?
No, I sold the Ibanez actually.
Oh, that was a good guitar.
I have my Red ESP.
Oh, nice. I don't think I've ever seen that one.
Cool. It's a good looking guitar.
Yeah, I'll show you right after we're done streaming. But
it's cool.
It's a sweet guitar. And I've actually been having that urge to play again recently. Because as Eric said, like I always have music, like things just come up in my head, and I'm like, I should really try and play that, but then I just never do.
Yeah.
And we're actually looking into getting an electric drum set.
Nice.
Because we both want to play. Me and Alexa both want to play. Every once in a while, like we're always like, oh, we want to play some drums, like learn how to play. And electric drum sets aren't that expensive, like for the beginner ones. So
no, they're not.
And like we don't care too much about like how the quality is at first. Like if it might just be something that we do and then give up on.
Yeah. You just want something to be able to put something down to and play.
Yeah. And play some of our favorite anime songs, of course.
There you go.
Well, it's like funny. If I ever got back into music, right?
Mm-hmm.
The instrument I would want to play is the piano.
Really?
Yep.
Piano's good.
If I ever got back into music, I'd probably buy a keyboard, you know.
Yeah.
And that's what I would do. I have no interest in playing the bass anymore. I have no interest in guitar. I don't have the room for a drum set. Well, I do, but to have that conversation that, hey, Jen, we need to play the drums in the house. It's not what I want to have. You know, but like I'd play the piano. That's what I would want to do, because there's so much options that you can do. Yeah, you can do a lot with piano.
Like especially if you get like a nice keyboard, you have like what's it called, like options for drums to play over, like over tracking or whatever the technical term is.
Right.
Exactly. So that would be like if I had the time to do it, I would learn to play piano.
Yeah, you can practice making movie scores.
Well, that's the thing. It's like, because that's kind of what like the next phase of my life I want to do now that I live on my own, and you know, and I'm in this, in my opinion, like my I call it my monster room. It's like my creative space, and I want to get into making short films and or like even like a feature or whatever. Like I want to start getting into like filmmaking, and even if it goes nowhere, even if it's just something that I just have with me and my buddies, I don't care. I just want to do it. And I'd even have you and Andrew friggin' score it. I don't give a crap.
Yeah. I'd love that.
I'd be down.
It'd be fun. Yeah, that's the thing.
I could play some heavy shit.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's the great thing about like metal music. Like you can add it into like movie scores. You can like music in general. I'll just say like music and movies come together so well. Kind of like how we're talking right now, like our friendship and all. Like it's more than just how they come together. It's how they're connected to each other. Like when you're watching a movie, like certain music, I know we're going a little off topic here, but we'll jump back. But like a movie score can really make or break a scene in a movie. Like if it's an intense scene, you need that like intense music, or even like no music.
Watch Psycho on mute.
Exactly.
People say that that they count the score of Psycho as a character itself.
Yes.
You know, watch Jaws. Watch Jaws without a score.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Like it's so important. The score is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I mean, there's some times where like there's a certain song that comes on in a movie, and that's what you reference, because you're like, oh, that song that comes on during that scene, like there isn't like, you might not even know the name of the song, but you're just like, that I know that song, that's in this movie. And it's an easy tie back, because if it's put in the right place, it sticks with you. I mean, look at what happened with Guardians of the Galaxy. Like, all of those songs, everyone already knew those songs. They're not new songs, but
they're more popular now because of that movie.
Right. And you put it into the movie, and now everyone's like, "Oh, I love that song. I love this song." And it's like, okay.
Like my old job, we had surround sound speakers all around the shop, and we would play like Sirius XM radio. So whatever station we were playing, anytime a song would come on, my one boss would play a game with me and like 3 other coworkers. He'd be like, "Keith, what movie?" And basically had to guess what movie that song was in. It was just a fun game.
Yeah.
But get back on some metal track, I guess you could say.
And all train tracks are usually metal, so.
Yes, exactly. That's why trains are awesome. All right, so we talked about like our influences, our old band, and all that. I mean, do you guys have anything to add? Any questions? Anything at all?
I think one thing I'm curious about, because we've all been to concerts and festivals. What is your favorite concert you've ever been to or festival? What's just the one that you left at? You're like, yep, that was the best one I've ever been to.
For me, I would say Mayhem 2012, because first off, the lineup was pretty awesome. It was a great lineup, but for me, it was the first time seeing my favorite band, and it was right after their big comeback, because that's when 2 years before that, their bass player Paul Gray died, and they kind of went on a weird hiatus, and that was their big comeback tour, and it was the greatest. I'll say this, next to my wedding day, it is the greatest day of my life, because not only I got to see my favorite band live, but I met two members.
Yeah.
I met Clown and I met Sid. And the way I met Clown was real weird. It was right after Whitechapel got off stage, and me and James decided to go check out all the merch booths in between bands. And we went to the Slipknot tent, and I look over to my left, and I did a double take. I'm like, that's fucking Clown. That's fucking Clown. Holy shit. And there was only 6 people in line to meet him. So I hop right into line, and that's when he was selling a photography book that he put out. And the guy came up to me. He's like, oh, you need to buy this book in order to meet him. Before he could finish his sentence, I already had my wallet out.
It's awesome.
I met Clown. I still have the picture with him. I'll post it on my Instagram story later. And then I met Sid later that day. I told him basically the story of how that band saved my life, got me through so much. He was refusing handshakes to everybody, but once I got done talking to him, he stood up and shook my hand. He's just like, man, I'm just happy that you're still here. I'm happy that you're here to enjoy not only our music, but just to enjoy life. I love hearing stories like that, or he was talking something like that, and it just made my entire day. So that experience alone was my favorite concert experience.
When we saw Sid, he had broken ankles.
Yeah.
Yes, he did. Because on the first show of the 2008 Mayhem tour, he jumped off of the high speakers and broke both his feet.
Yeah.
He was still climbing on shit too. It's insane.
He was dragging his legs around the whole stage. Like it was great.
Sid didn't give a fuck. He used to climb up on the top of balconies inside of venues and just jump down and to crowd surf.
It's probably the coolest band I've ever seen live was Slipknot. But Andrew, what's your favorite experience?
My favorite experience, and it's not super metal or anything, because
doesn't have to be, as long as it's special to you.
Mine was the first time I saw Avenged Sevenfold.
Okay.
And that was at Uproar Festival, the first Uproar Festival, which had what shitty band was headlining? Disturbed.
Oh, come on now, dude.
They're so boring to watch.
No, you guys,
boring.
Listen to me. You guys had to have called them on a bad show. I've seen Disturbed 4 times, and they have never put on a bad show for me.
Dude,
ever.
We can get into this another day, but listen. Me and Andrew sat through an hour of those people. They stood in one spot. They sucked the energy out of that freaking concert hall, and thank God Slipknot came back to put some life back into us.
That's what I'm
saying. You guys must have called them on a bad night or something.
I don't think so.
Four times, and they have never put on a bad show for me.
All I'm gonna say, and actually, I'll throw in a bonus content at the end of this because it was a fun experience.
Okay.
But so all I'm gonna say is that Uproar Festival. So Hailstorm was there, Five Finger Death Punch.
Okay.
And Avenged Sevenfold, and then Disturbed was the main headliner.
Right.
We watched Avenged Sevenfold, and when I tell you that half of the venue left, like half of the audience left after Avenged Sevenfold, I mean half of the audience left after Avenged Sevenfold.
Hey, I believe you.
Because because Disturbed is the most boring band that I've ever seen in my life.
Then you know what?
They're good. Listen, Eric, they are a good band.
Right. I know. They're one of my all-time favorites, so I'm going to argue this to the death.
But they're the most boring band ever to see live.
I can give you lists of more boring bands, but you know what? Let's make this a subject for like a couple podcasts ahead in the future. Just a Disturbed fucking argument.
It was
Got it.
Eric. Yeah, it was just I feel bad because they are a great band, but it's just
But so then I also did a few years back. I went and saw It's the Fall live.
Okay.
And I was standing there on the front edge of the pit, so closer to the stage.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just sitting there trying to like protect myself behind me, like so I don't get hit in the head. And then I turn around and my arms were like this, and the lead singer lands in my arms. and I'm like, what the fuck?
That's awesome.
So then like I obviously like picked him back up and just like threw him back on top of the crowd, and they pushed him back up to the stage. But it was just like that's never happened to me at a concert before. Like I've never had someone like just fall into my arms like that I wasn't expecting, and it happened to be the lead singer of the band, and it was a lot of fun. Like I'll always talk about that experience. What about you, Nick?
That's a good experience.
My favorite concert experience is actually not a metal show either. It's there's a tour that used to be around. It was actually a tour that would help. It was like supposed to help prevent suicide. It was called the Take Action Tour.
Right.
I remember that tour.
And the reason why I like it so much because it was one of the ones I went with my father. It was kind of cool because like we were at the Electric Factory, and at the Electric Factory it's all standing, but upstairs in the bar you can sit.
Yeah.
Because I had my father, I got to sit up at the bar, so I got to sit during the whole concert. What was kind of cool was not only did I get to spend time with my father, which is always great. Is I was there to see Red Jumpsuit Apparatus. The lead singer got sick that night, and there was another concert playing in New York. I forget the name of it, but it was a bigger concert. And Chiodos was headlining that. So Chiodos decided to play earlier in that concert, and they drove all the way from New York to Philly.
Oh wow!
And played for us.
That's cool.
That's awesome.
And I just thought that was so cool because I think they drove like 5 hours. Like, it was a pretty far distance between the two. It was something crazy.
Yeah.
And I'm not kidding you. Like they showed up. I think probably within like 30 minutes of playing.
Oh wow.
And not only did they play, they stayed and hung out and signed any autograph and pictures. I mean, like. Like say what you want. Like I still like Chiodos to this day, and maybe because of that experience. Say what you want about them. Like those guys were cool as shit. The fact that they were willing to drive to save a show because literally, like it would have just ended. Like I think like their headliner would have been Amir, which is a good, Amir's a great band, but they weren't. That's not what I want to end a show on.
Right.
And Chiodos literally they saved the show that night.
Right.
And I thought that was so cool of them, and it was it was a cool concert. I got to see Scary Kids Scaring Kids, which I was really into them at the time.
Yeah.
And then Static Lullaby. Yeah, they're great. And then Static Lullaby was there. I was really into them at the time. So it was just not only was it cool that I got to spend time with my dad, but I got to see like how cool that community is.
Right.
For having a guy saying like, hey, I'm not gonna have you guys miss out on a tour. Because I remember like. I forget whatever the name of that tour was. Whatever the name of the tour was, they were coming the following week.
Right.
Really. And I chose to do Take Action. Everybody else chose to go to the other show. Because Chiodos was the big band.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And it's like I got to go to a show that was smaller and still see them.
That's cool.
That's an awesome story, actually.
Yeah. So that was my coolest. That was my favorite concert experience ever. I really had a good time that night, and when I think of a concert, that's the one that always comes to mind.
I'll even give you a bonus one. Like I took my dad to see Guns N' Roses 3 years ago when they came back with Slash.
That's cool.
That's cool as hell.
First off, the tickets were actually reasonably priced, but where we were seated, we were at the Wells Fargo Center in Philly where the Flyers play, and where the stage was set up. We were like off to the side, right above the stage on the second level. So we saw everything. And that was special for my dad because that was his first concert that he's been to, like, since, well, he's been to 2 concerts since like I was born, but like for some reason he doesn't count them because they were free, which I don't get why. Like, we saw Cheap Trick and we saw Pat Benatar, big acts, but whatever, that's on him. But for him, it was special because his son got to like paid for his ticket, drove him, bought the beer, took him, and Guns N' Roses played for 4 hours. They were the only band. They played for 4 hours. They played probably everything off of Appetite. They played all the big hits off of Use Your Illusion 1 and 2. And then they played like 7 cover songs ranging from like Buddy Holly all the way up to like 90s grunge. Like, it was actually a really cool concert experience.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
One surprising concert that I went to that was actually really good was Maroon 5.
Okay.
just trust me on this.
All right.
Because I didn't know that I knew all those songs until they played them, because they have a lot of fucking hits. And I was like, what the hell? I was like, how do I know this song? But it was really cool. We had tickets for the upper level of the Wells Fargo, and then I guess they didn't sell enough tickets, so they just moved us down for free. So we were down like really close to the stage, and it was actually a really good experience. Like, they had didn't know that the lead singer even played guitar. I just thought he was up there to look good and sing, but instead he played guitar, and he was really good at it.
One of my other, probably like maybe my top 3 favorite concerts I've ever went to was Bruno Mars.
Really?
That sounds like it would be a fun concert.
It was fun as shit. It was last minute. My dad, the business he worked in, he would, a lot of times, because he would do advertising with certain companies, they would give free tickets out. So my dad called me and he goes, "Hey, do you know who Bruno Mars is?" I said, yeah, he's really good. Because I just got 2 free tickets, but the problem is the concert starts in like an hour. Do you and your sister want to go? And my sister was like pregnant at the time with little D, which is kind of cool. And we went. We had someone drop us off, and we went, and it was like one of the coolest concerts ever. Bruno killed it. It was kind of cool because it was one of those concerts. It wasn't rowdy, you know what I mean? It was just like chill, you know what I mean? It was fun and chill. People were dancing. Like, no one was bombed, you know what I mean? Like, everybody was just there to have a good ass time.
Right.
So I would. It might even be my second favorite concert of all time. We gotta be honest with you. It was that good.
Okay.
I'm telling you, sometimes you get surprised.
Well, another guy who puts on a hell of a show is John Mayer.
Right.
I mean, like a lot of, like, don't get me wrong, I love my metal concerts, but like, I mean, like, sometimes it's kind of cool to go to a concert and just chill.
Exactly.
Listen to music and just chill. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I love that shit, man. I live for it.
And fans of classic rock would be angry at me for not mentioning the classic shows that I've been to. But I saw Roger Waters do The Wall.
That's awesome.
Nice.
That was a good tour. I've seen Paul McCartney.
That's awesome.
I'm jealous again.
I saw Rush.
Oh, dude, I was supposed to go see Rush on their last tour, but the tickets fell through. I was so angry.
Yeah, I saw them on their last tour. I saw the Stones.
Nice.
Okay. Nice.
Their 50th anniversary tour, I think it was.
Very nice.
So I've been to some good concerts.
The closest I've ever gotten to classic rock was I saw Jason Bonham and the Led Zeppelin Experience. No, that was
I
really
saw
cool.
them too. They were really good.
They were sick. They were sick, dude. Like, it kind of like, you sit there and think to yourself, like, wow, like, I feel like I'm at a Led Zeppelin concert.
It pretty much is. Like, the singer that they have in that band, like, he's obviously not as good, but he's very good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I liked it. That was really fun. That was a free ticket I think we got from Jen's father when he was working at a company. They gave him like free tickets to like the MMRBQ or something.
Right.
And that was one of the bands there. And then Volbeat was there.
Right. They put on a great show.
Yeah, that was really cool too. Yeah, I mean, I gotta be honest, I don't really go to many concerts anymore. I kind of like have like a really weird anxiety issue about going.
Right.
You know, like the crowds just kind of really overwhelm me at this point.
Oh yeah.
Like, even like when I go to conventions, as much as I love going to conventions, I kind of go in, meet who I want to meet, and then I go.
Right.
You know, because crowds kind of like, it's a little too intense for me anymore. So.
Right.
I don't go to many concerts, but like there are certain people like I would make the exception to go.
Right.
I saw Journey a couple years ago.
That's pretty cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, no, that was sick. The lead singer that they had sounded very, very good.
Like, in a way, he kind of sounds more like Steve Perry than Steve Perry.
Right.
If that makes sense.
It was really odd, but it was like I didn't know that the guitar player did so many like instruments in that band. Like he goes over and he plays the keyboard, he goes over and he does like all these things, and I was like, oh man, this is really cool to see live.
Very nice.
One of my biggest. How about we talk about biggest regrets? Like whether it was a concert that you were supposed to go to, or something in terms of like if you were supposed to meet like a band and you just didn't end up meeting them, kind of like along the lines that we were talking about earlier. But like,
yeah, go ahead, Nick.
So it was at the MMRBQ, and if anybody who knows me knows how much I love Rob Zombie.
Mm-hmm.
I got really sick before he played.
Oh, you missed a good show.
Really
I've seen Zombie twice. He puts on a good show.
Yeah, and I never got a chance to see him, and I had to leave before he played. Like literally, probably like an hour before he went off. It was like right after Volbeat. Like I couldn't. Like I was like I just got really, really violently ill.
Yeah.
And,
I was at that show.
Were you?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah. I got like really sick, and I had to leave, and it makes me sad because I wanted to see him, but I just couldn't. It was high, like it was just like everything was just not working in my favor.
Yeah.
So I mean, Rob still tours all the time, so I will get my chance to make up that wrong. But yeah, that would probably be my biggest. If I had, like, if I want to call it a regret, that would be one of the ones I regret. Like I wish I would have stayed and saw him.
Yeah.
What about you, Eric?
I already said what my biggest one is, but I have a second one. My second biggest regret is not going to Mayhem 2008. I was originally supposed to go with Nick, and then me and him got into a major fight over something so stupid I can't even remember what it is. He ended up taking you instead, Andrew, and I regret that to this day because that's when I had all the original members. You're welcome.
That was the last year that Paul was alive.
No. He died 2 years later, but like
okay.
I also how my family was. We didn't have a lot of money, so I had to pick and choose concerts. And even though you had the ticket, you were gonna hook me up with it. Even still, like that, like I couldn't afford to go see them after that again.
Right.
Yeah.
So
You're just being a dick, dude.
I was. You know what? It was me too. I was the one that started it. I don't remember what it was about, but like
I vividly remember. I feel like you were just like. You can't really talk about it. I kind of vividly remember. It's not anything bad. Like it's kind of stupid.
Did it have to do with my ex at the time?
No, nothing like that. No, you were just kind of like it was like you were like blowing me off.
It kind of did.
For a second, if you want to see if it's bad.
No, it was something like stupid. Like I would like try to call and hang out, and you were like blowing me off, and then you were kind of being like a jerk to me at the same time.
I probably was.
And I remember like saying to you, I was like, Eric, like I'm literally giving you a free ticket to see your favorite band in the world, and you're doing this shit to me. What the hell? And I was like, I was like, fuck you. And I was like, Andy, you were gonna make them.
I was like, fuck yeah.
Yeah, but it wasn't like anything still like hindsight being 2020. It wasn't anything serious, but it was just kind of one of those things like.
Right.
It was almost like I guess we were drifting. For like a second, like we were.
For like a second, yeah.
We're having a lovers' quarrel.
Oh.
Well, think about it too. We were like 14.
Yeah.
Like
we were young,
you know how 14-year-olds like fight with each other.
Everything personal. And you also got to understand too. Like me and Eric were at that point in time, we were like inseparable.
Yeah, I would be going to Nick's house literally every other day.
It was kind of one of those things. Like it was like. We probably were just seeing too much of each other, and like Eric was hanging out with one of his friends, and I was like trying to hang out. And I'm like, "Fuck, man, this dude's ditching me." And then
you know what it was?
Like he was ignoring like my calls or some shit, some corny like that.
You know what it was? I don't think it was another friend. I think it was actually my ex, because that was my first. That was my first real girlfriend. That's when I was with Katie.
That could have been it.
I think that was probably it, because like that was my first real girlfriend. Like I was excited just to be in a relationship.
I think I vaguely remember that actually.
Yeah. Was it the ex, Andrew?
I believe so.
It's the only thing that makes sense.
Maybe it was one of those.
Yeah.
Maybe it was like one of those stupid arguments that you guys were having.
Yeah, I think it was.
Because there were a couple of them.
Fine.
Oh yeah, we had no problems after that. Like you guys went. I didn't get mad at the time that you took Andrew instead. I was like, all right, whatever.
Yeah.
If anything, Eric was like super understanding. Like he was just like, yeah, no, I get it. Like Eric got to actually disinvited himself.
Yeah, that lineup was sick though.
It was sick, dude. It was sick.
Like we saw Suicide Silence
when they were still brand new.
That's when we met them, dude.
That's
when
we met them.
To smoke with them.
Yeah.
What was it? The Red Chord was on there.
Red Chord was on there. Black Tide when they were coming around. Remember Black Tide?
5-Finger Death Punch.
Dude, oh my God, Black Tide is another podcast right there. I could go on about them.
5-Finger Death Punch was there.
Yeah, we got to see
Walls of Jericho.
We got to see how terrible Under Oath was live.
Yeah. Oh my God, they were awful Under Oath.
I'm not gonna lie. When I saw them at Self Help like 2 years ago, they weren't that great, but I still enjoyed it just because I liked the songs.
So we did get to see our boy Herman Lee.
Yeah, Herman Lee.
Dragon Force.
Shredding, dude.
Yeah, he was.
And then we got snoozed by Disturbed.
we were asleep.
They walked up on stage. They smashed the snooze button, and everybody went to sleep. And then we woke up when Slipknot came on.
That was great.
We thought the fires of the pyrotechnics. We're like, woo, Disturbed's gone.
Wow, a band actually doing something. But
Eric, I'm telling you, if it wasn't for the fact that Slipknot was on after, I can't promise you that people would have been saying.
Oh no.
People were snoozing, bro.
I'm just saying, dude. Like every time I've seen Disturbed, like they have not put on a boring show. The crowd was into it. I don't know what it was about that specific show for you guys.
Lead singer must have accidentally super glued his feet to the fucking floor or something.
I guess when I saw him, he was David Draymond was moving around. He was I was fucking close to him too. I was in the pit for that.
I don't even remember him walking on stage. That's how much he didn't move.
Wow.
He just appeared like a wizard.
All right.
I actually did see a band that was similar to that type of experience where they just don't move, and I saw them twice, and they were awful both times.
Why would you do that to yourself? Who was it?
They were in a festival that I was at. If you ever heard the band Stories So Far?
Yeah, I've heard of them.
They're like, you listen to the music, and like it's like pump up excitement music, and like because it's like that yelling type of singing.
Yeah.
And like, but you see them live, and the dude's just standing there, like the hands behind his back, and he's just like yelling into the microphone, and he's like really.
I have the lineup for that year. I just googled it.
Yeah, I have it here too.
Yeah, it was Airborne, 36 Crazy Fist, 5-Finger Death Punch, The Red Chord, Suicide Silence, Black Tide, Walls of Jericho, Machine Head, Under Oath, Mastodon, Dragon Force, Disturbed, and Slipknot.
That was probably their second or third best lineup that Mayhem ever had.
And then the one, I feel like the one that just the 2009 is probably the best lineup. I didn't go. But
I didn't go to that either, but that was their heaviest lineup ever. The one stage was just Whitechapel, Black Dahlia Murder, Behemoth, and Job for a Cowboy.
I went to that one.
It's Manson, Slayer, Killswitch Engage, Bullet for My Valentine, Cannibal Corpse, Job for a Cowboy, Behemoth, Black Dahlia Murder, Whitechapel, Trivium, All That Remains, and God Forbid.
Yeah.
That might be the most dopest
lineup. It's the heaviest lineup that Mayhem ever had.
I went there. It was the greatest experience. Like it was awesome for like anyone who's into metal. Like that.
There's
that
like
was
not a
the
shit
show.
band on that.
Yeah.
I mean,
not a shit band on that.
That was my experience with Ozfest 06. There was not one shit band on there. Like that was incredible. Like Avenged Sevenfold got added like 2 shows before mine, so that was cool.
That's cool.
That was a great year because it was Ozzy headlining, of course, System of a Down, Disturbed, yes, Disturbed, Hatebreed, Avenged Sevenfold, Lacuna Coil, and Dragon Force on the main stage. You had Atreyu, Unearth, Bleeding Through, All That Remains, Walls of Jericho, and Full Blown Chaos on another stage. And then the other one you had Bad Acid Trip, Between the Buried and Me, who else? Strapping Young Lad, like 2 other bands I can't for the life of me remember for whatever reason. But that All That Remains was on that year. That's another one. That was just a fantastic. Norma Jean, that's the other band I couldn't think of. That lineup was phenomenal. That is probably the best lineup I've ever seen for a concert.
Eric, what year did we go to Summer Slaughter?
2008. That one was Black Dahlia Murder.
Yeah, here it is. I have it right
Cataclysm. Yeah, you read it off.
It was Black Dahlia Murder, Cataclysm, Vader, Psychroptic, The Faceless, Despised Icon, Aborted, Born of Osiris, Cryptopsy, and Whitechapel.
Yes, that was a great lineup. And we met everybody except for the members of Vader and Cryptopsy, and that's only because they were hiding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's another really good, the Scums of the Underground tour I went to. I'm going to read you guys that Underground tour. That was good because that was on a weekday and it was like 4 people there. Hold on, where is it? It was like, fuck. Hold on.
I think it was Guar, Shadows Fall, Chimera.
It wasn't that.
It wasn't that year?
Here it is. This was, the Scum of the Earth tour.
Scum of the Earth, okay.
So, it was a weekend, and I literally just went. It was like a fucking Tuesday, right? And it was Throwdown, Soilworks, Through the Eyes of the Dead, and War of Ages.
Ooh, I remember that. I remember you coming to school the next day and telling me about that show.
It was dope, dude. And that was when that's when they had the new lead singer for Through the Eyes of the Dead, the bald dude.
Nate Johnson.
Yeah, Nate Johnson, dude. And that motherfucker was headbanging so hard he grew hair.
That's funny as hell.
Yeah, there's it's like funny, like talking about this. Like, remember, oh man, I went to this show. Like, it's just kind of cool.
So many good memories right there, man. Like shows. All right, I got an interesting question. If you had a time machine and you could go back to any concert in history, doesn't matter what genre of music it is, which one would you go to?
Honestly, I don't need to go to a different time. I like the time that we were kids.
Well, I mean, like even like a band that's not around anymore that you would like to see.
The only band, and actually that gets me to my biggest regret.
Oh yeah, I forgot your turn for the biggest regret. Andrew.
It all coincides because my biggest regret and the one thing that I would go back in time for is all one.
Okay.
So my biggest regret, I was driving home. It was my first year of college, and I was driving home, and I was listening to WMMR, and they were giving away tickets to see Avenged Sevenfold. So at the time, like that was before the Rev died, and so I called in on chance. I was just like, let me just call in. And so I called in and I won.
Oh.
And I was like, what the fuck? Okay. So what happened was I didn't end up going and picking up the tickets. So I never went. And that was the last like US tour that they were doing before he died. So
wow.
To answer your second question,
it would be that concert.
It would be that concert. I would go back and go pick up his tickets and go and
fair enough
and enjoy it because I didn't see them until after the Rev died, and I've seen them 2 or 3 times since then. So I made up for it, but at the same time, I'd like to see the Rev.
The Rev killed it when I saw them on Ozfest. So just to help you feel better a little bit.
I don't know if I can think of.
It doesn't make me feel better.
I don't know if I can think of a specific time period, but like there's one of the bands I really love I've never seen, so I wish like I'd see it would be Atreyu.
Okay, they put on a great show, by the way.
Yeah, so I don't know, like I mean, it doesn't. I mean, shit, if you want to put me back in time and put me in Ozfest and watch Atreyu, fine. Cause I've never been to an Ozfest either. But like, I think if I could like see any band, I would be Ozfest. It would not be Ozfest. It would be Atreyu. Okay. I've never seen them. That would be a band that would probably, like, off the top of my head, that would be the one that pops in my head.
Like prime Atreyu time, not like nowadays Atreyu.
Nowadays Atreyu sucks now.
The album, like the last album I was really into was the
Lead Sails, Paper Anchor.
From that and back would be like the Atreyu I'd want to.
Same. That's my favorite Atreyu. I would even say the album after Lead Sails, when they started changing their sound a little bit. I would say from that album back.
Yeah, but that would probably be that'd be something that I'd want to do, or I could just go back in time and not get sick and stick for Rob Zombie.
There you go. There you go. I mean, for me, I'd want to go see Pink Floyd when on their tour after Dark Side of the Moon, or their tour for Dark Side of the Moon, because Pink Floyd's they're one of my all-time favorite bands. Dark Side of the Moon's one of my all-time favorite albums, and I can only imagine the show that they would put on.
Yeah, I love Pink Floyd. They're great. When I got to Roger Waters, I was like, "Oh, this is great."
Bastard. Oh man.
That would be my answer to that.
Fair enough.
You got anything else for us there, Morley?
No, I don't really have anything else more to add. Like, do you guys got anything?
I'm good, Andrew. What about you?
I think I got everything off my chest.
All right. Yeah, I think we covered everything. If there's anything else, obviously we can bring it back to another episode, of course. But
always
have a part 2.
Yeah, I think we covered a lot of ground today. Like it was a good discussion. I enjoyed this one.
I agree. Yes. Well, Eric, take us out, buddy.
All right.
Your show this week.
All right. Well, the episode should be on YouTube in a few days. Never Sold Out Podcast. Those who stayed and watched and listened, thank you. Those who are going to in the future, thank you. And just keep an eye out. We'll be making posts.
All right. We'll see you.
Thanks, guys.
Stay metal.
Bye.